AmericasWebRadio.com.
Perhaps you are struggling to cope with the disease of addiction. If not, you probably know a family member or friend.
Hello, everybody. I am Roger B. This is Locked and Loaded, and you're listening to America's Web Radio. Today, we're going to talk about, I got some things about first-time gun buyers. These are stories you're not going to want to miss. Oh, my goodness. These people who have no idea what they're doing when they walk in to buy a gun, and they're just shocked, amazed, angered by what they have to do to buy a gun. They just can't believe it.
You mean our wonderful Democrat voters who...
Well, it's funny because, you ask them, oh, do you believe in gun control? Yeah, I do. Well, this is it.
This is it.
Welcome.
You know, all that stuff you voted for and all the stuff you keep demanding and you keep saying there's no
And now you don't want it to apply to you.
And now you don't want it.
But I'm going to do those later. But first, I got to mention a gun company that is doing a fantastic job during this... What are you calling it now, Vic? Is it the coronavirus scam?
Pretty much. I guess that's the way we can call it, the China scam.
I was going to call the scare, but apparently it's not as scary as it was once they start realizing how many people have had it and how few people are actually getting affected by it.
How much herd immunity is actually a real thing.
Yeah. But anyway, the company Keltec, and in case you don't know, Keltec makes some really cool weapons. They make shotguns, pistols, rifles, bullpup-style rifles, bullpup-style pump-action shotguns with dual feed tubes. They make some amazing products. And now they've stepped up and changed over some of their manufacturing capacity. They were working with the Medical University of South Carolina to redesign some face masks and improve on the filters that keep the coronavirus away from the lungs of doctors and nurses who are caring for the infected people. So they found a way not only to expand the types of filtration cartridges that can be used in safe masks, but managed to make them even safer. Now what they're doing is they're printing these. They're 3D printing these, I suppose. So he came up with a design, because the original design required cutting and gluing a HEPA filter. But now with the new designs, they use Roomba filters, which makes them much easier to assemble and put together. They can use different types of cartridges. And the idea that you can do 3D printers to manufacture N95 masks, these are the ones that you're not going to find these at Walmart. These are the ones strictly reserved for healthcare professionals, or maybe people who paint sometimes. I don't know, because I've seen that. But so they're making masks of their own, and they're sharing files so others can print the same design. This is a gun company coming in, stepping up to help people in a time of need, helping doctors, helping nurses. And this is something that's interesting to see, that we have this infection going on, and it's driving technology to get better, driving things to be made faster, cheaper, and more effectively. So this way, next time, it's going to be that much easier to get things in place, to move things around. Although this time we seem to have got a lot of things in place, and we didn't need a lot of it. They had Navy hospital ships parked in New York, parked in Seattle, and never saw a single patient. But anyway, if you get a chance, go look at Keltec Firearms, because they are stepping up, and they are giving us some good stuff to deal with, because they're helping out more than a lot of people are. So, and they're a gun company. So remember that. When they say gun companies serve no purpose except to make dangerous killing machines. No. They also make very high quality masks, apparently, to help our healthcare workers. Here we go. We're back to Connecticut again. Now, I don't know if you know about Connecticut. They had an issue where they tried to ban military-styled rifles, and then they forced a registration on everybody. Now, the registration worked out great. They had about a 80% non-compliance rate. So only about between 15 and 20% of the people registered their weapons. Everybody else was like, nope, lost in a boating accident. I don't have it anymore. I'm not going to register squat, because you don't need to know.
Those darn boating accidents. I don't know why they keep happening to me.
I know.
That's weird.
They're horrific when they happen, but you know.
You would think I would learn not to get on a boat.
We move on.
Yeah.
But Connecticut, and they put in all these laws and everything, trying to change everything, and they're one of the ones now that they have a ban on magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition. And it's now being challenged in court 7 years after the law was put into place following the Sandy Hook massacre. Yeah, because the Sandy Hook one, I mean, it was a terrible thing that happened. Evil happens in the world. It's like a box. You can't have an inside without an outside. You can't have good without bad. It's going to happen. There's going to be evil people who will accomplish evil things.
You know, Roger, we have a listener pointing out right now. This is a listener from Alabama.
Sweet home.
Just a few, huh?
Sweet home, Alabama.
Sweet home, Alabama. Just a few days ago was the 27th anniversary of the Waco siege.
Oh, that's right. I did see that, yeah.
And also think about Ruby Ridge.
Ruby Ridge was a complete fiasco,
right.
and people just don't realize how bad a violation of constitutional rights that was.
Right. I mean, this is your government, once again, trampling on your God-given rights, and in this case, the Second Amendment.
And we're seeing that now. I mean, some of the people claiming in the name of coronavirus, they're trying to shut down gun shops.
Right.
Even though the Department of Homeland Security said they're essential.
They're deeming your security non-essential.
Yep.
I mean, this is what people need to understand, which, Roger, if you don't mind, indulge me for a moment.
Go.
I want to just plug here that we are, and you're helping, the Locked and Loaded show and the On Point with Victor show, we are putting together a freedom ride to stand not just for the Second Amendment, but to stand for the First, the Third, the Fourth, the Fifth. You know, we stand
Constitution.
for the Constitution. And this is going to be a freedom ride for support of the Constitution. So if you've got a motorcycle, we want you to join us. Even if you don't have a motorcycle, you can bring your car and your flag. We want to see American flags, don't tread on me flags, good stuff like that. And there will be more information coming out at this, and you'll be able to find it if you find us on Facebook.
Now, I do have an old 2012 Obama flag. Can I bring that?
You can bring it, but I can't promise what will happen to it.
Come on. Now, for the 8 years he was in office, gun sales skyrocketed. He was a great salesman for guns.
He was the salesman of the decade. Well, salesman of almost a decade.
Yep, almost a decade.
So
he drove gun sales to record numbers over and over and over again.
So, absolutely, you could bring that flag. We're nice people. We won't even be mad at you.
Yeah, and people say, "Oh, can you like Obama?" I go, "You know what? I got to give credit where credit is due."
Credit is due. The best
gun
salesman
sales
out there.
Now, granted, we just recently broke a record with the coronavirus has become gun salesman of the year this year for 1 year.
This year.
3.7 million background checks, and I think 3.2 million guns sold. But during Obama's time, they were selling enough guns in 1 day.
Yeah.
To arm every single member of the active duty Marine Corps.
And remember, your elitist government, your elitist dirtbags in government. I should really be nice, but this isn't my show. This is your show. But the elitist Democrats,
I can be nice,
who have armed guards. Your elite politician who has armed guards is telling you, the people, we the people, that it is not essential for us to have security.
Right, and
even though the Second Amendment clearly spells it out.
And the states were funny because they were violating orders given by DHS. The Department of Homeland Security said they made a ruling. Okay, gun stores are essential because of the Second Amendment, and we can't violate Second Amendment rights. Mm-hmm. So you figure if that were to happen, okay, all the gun stores are open. We're fine. Right. But no, these state governors are going, well, I'm a Democrat governor, I'm a liberal governor, I'm an anti-gun governor, whatever. I don't like guns. I'm going to try and shut down the stores. Even so, they were told that they were given, I guess,
by the Homeland Security.
A pass. They're allowed to be there.
Yeah. Well, it should cause you pause that elected officials, Democrats, their first reaction during a crisis is to seize guns or somehow stop the sale of guns.
Now, I don't know if any Republican governors did it too. I'm not sure. I think some of them may have actually tried.
The only one I would probably fear is that guy out in Ohio, but we won't really. I don't know for sure.
Right. I don't know. I didn't look. I know there was like two or three.
But I know
were
the
insisting.
Democrat governors.
And what's her name? Michigan? Is it Michigan?
Whittam, I don't remember her name, but the governor of Michigan, she didn't hesitate. She immediately, her instinct was go after guns. The New Jersey, same thing. New York, same thing. I mean, these Democrat governors, their reaction isn't your health,
your welfare, your safety.
Their reaction is, how can I seize and take advantage of this to seize more power? And that ought to cause everyone to step back and go, okay, I need to reassess this party that is called the Democrat Party. Because if their first inclination or gut reaction during a crisis
So take
is
away
to take away some form of rights, and now look what they're doing. They're just they're trampling on the Fourth Amendment. That's the first, the second.
Well, the whole
I mean,
idea of being
it's-
able to force a business to shut down is a violation of the Constitution in general.
Clearly, there is no authority.
But with the fear they instilled in people, everybody was just willing to go along and decide it was okay.
You know what, Roger? The American people are great. We will listen, and we can understand a pandemic, and we can voluntarily say, you know what, we're going to work together, and we will forego some rights right now for about a month or so. But the American people will also stand up and go, okay, you're taking it too far now.
Right,
And
especially with all
want
this
our
new
rights.
information coming out.
Right, and exactly, when the real data, see, we were basing fear on models,
And it's unfortunate.
and now
but
we have real data.
all these people were driven to buy guns by a virus. It didn't
Yeah.
make any sense to start with. And I was like, I don't know what were they thinking? If you were a first-time gun buyer lately, I would love to know what you were thinking as far as why you thought a gun was going to be helpful.
Well, this is a good moment in send us those comments at roger@americaswebradio.com
Oh, yeah,
or
there's that.
victor@americaswebradio.com. Also, questions on the Freedom Ride, roger@americaswebradio.com, victor@americaswebradio.com.
Sure, but I'm gonna go through something real quick. This is something I'm gonna read because I have it written down, and it makes sense. And most of you might have seen this before. When all the guns have been banned, when all the words have been censored, when all the history has been erased, only then will you discover why our right to bear arms was so high on the list. Because without being able to defend yourself against tyranny, defend freedom, and support freedom, it's easy to have rights taken away from you by those who still have guns. And the Founding Fathers were brilliant in their design of the Second Amendment, and the fact that it was the second one so high up on the list that they felt it was important to list it specifically, and they gave it a complete, unabashed, no restrictions should be placed. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Of course, politicians have taken it and twisted it, and they're infringing all over the place in the name of security and safety. And as Ben Franklin once said, those who are willing to trade freedom for safety or security deserve neither. So if you're, and we were doing that during the coronavirus scare. I mean, people were shutting down businesses. Their freedom to choose, they were being taken away in the name of safety or security. Oh, for safety's sake, we have to shut everybody down. So it was just, I can't believe that people let things go that far. But I guess it was scary, though, because a virus is not something most people know that much about. You know, especially when we've seen in the past, what is it, the Spanish flu, 1918 killed 25 million people in 9 months.
Hey, Roger, think about this. Last year, there was 490,000 plus people hospitalized for the regular flu. The year before that, 810,000.
Wow.
So there's a lot that we can't do against the regular flu.
There are diseases
And-
we can't
Right.
stop every disease
We're
all
not
the
going to
time.
stop every disease. So to try and say that we're going to take away your constitutional rights in the name of a crisis, you know what? I would like for someone to show me the clause in the Constitution that says, in the event of a crisis, this whole document
Is null and void.
Is null and void. It ain't there, folks.
Yeah, that is not the 89th command.
No.
89th Amendment.
89th Amendment. No,
It's
not there.
If any need is found to eliminate all this because of a sickness, by all means.
By all means. And I'll go even further. Show me a state constitution that has a crisis clause saying this state constitution is null and void during a crisis.
And will override any federal constitution.
Right, and will override the federal constitution. Exactly. So clearly we need to re-educate. You know, Democrats love to talk about re-education. And
Yeah.
communists love to talk about it. So, well, you know what? I'd like to talk to them about re-education on the Constitution.
Yeah, start at the beginning, at the roots. Come back to our roots. I mean, like I say,
Yeah.
the amendments are there for a reason. They determine their order by their importance.
By their importance. I mean, it's
Number 2 is pretty important.
Well,
Granted,
because you can't
second
have
is the first loser, but you know.
Well, in the world of racing, of which we participate in quite often, yes, number 2 is the first loser. But in the case of the Constitution, you don't have the first without the second.
But the top 10 are always considered good.
But, yeah.
So, you got the Bill of Rights there. The top 10 are considered
you got the
good.
declarations.
So-
I mean,
It's there.
It's not a suggestion, folks. These are rights.
That's right. This is not something.
And-
This is not something that you may have, or you,
Yeah,
is your,
that you might
is a
have.
privilege that you can earn.
This
these are
isn't-
these are something. Actually, in fact, the Bill of Rights is not even anything they're giving you.
Right.
There's restrictions on removing
right.
them.
Roger, that's a great point, because we are one of, if not the only country that has a constitution that restricts government, what
Right.
government can do to the people. It doesn't say you have these rights as long as government deems it
Right.
appropriate.
It's not a driver's license.
Which again takes me exactly. It's not a privilege. This is you are born with these, and just as like I said, there's no crisis clause in the Constitution.
In the Constitution, saying null and void if this. In case of this, all this document is null and void. Yes,
exactly.
It's not in there.
No.
But and the thing is, a lot of people. Okay, we're gonna have to take a break for a minute, get some words from sponsors. I'm Roger B. This is America's Web Radio, and you're listening to Locked and Loaded.
Whether cruising the strip in a 57 Chevy or taking the family on a vacation in a 71 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser, you need to tune in to Classic Cars with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. on americaswebradio.com.
Quick Stakes, that's Q-U-I-K Stakes, are not just for surveyors. They are great for family and community gardens. Go online to www.quickstake.com or contact your local land surveying supply dealer and get you a box of Quick Stakes. You'll love them every year when you plant your garden. Again, that's Quick Stakes, Q-U-I-K Stakes, the truly preferred way to stake and identify what's in your garden now.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Okay, we're back. I am Roger B. This is Locked and Loaded, and to my right sits Victor Armendariz.
Hey,
Of On Point with Victor.
I've got another listener. This is a listener question.
Oh, questions. Okay.
You have some fans in Alabama, because this is
do.
also from Alabama.
So we have one. That brings us up to what, 9, I think.
Yes, there are some slots open.
They're on their couch out on the front porch between.
Hey now.
Between the washer and dryer.
And
Hey
dryer. But somehow they seem to think that you have access. And again, I told them that there was an awful boating accident, but they think that we have access to a 50 cal, which they would like to shoot.
Oh,
And
I see.
Were it not for this horrible boating accident,
I
could
could
get
probably
our
borrow
hands
one, though. I know a guy.
Yeah.
I could borrow one. I still have a few rounds from one that I may or may not have owned.
Well, all right then. So we may have to take Locked and Loaded to Alabama.
Yeah, as long as we got enough room.
Oh, there's plenty of room.
Because I want to. Yeah, I could like to. And in fact, the one I had was named Black Betty.
Black Betty. Ooh,
Because
Black Betty.
she was big, long, and went bam-a-lam.
Yeah. Oh, I can attest to that because I fired Black Betty.
That's right. She was a
And,
beast. Whew.
I also really was able to work on my six-pack one day when we were shooting Black Betty, because I got to laugh at some of our friends who tried to shoot Black Betty.
Oh, no. You got to hold on tight. All the rules of rifle firing apply.
They still apply to a 50 cal.
Do not do not break your cheek weld when you're firing a 50 caliber, because that scope will make you into a pirate.
Yes.
You want to be a pirate? Take your face away from the cheek and then pull the trigger on a 50 caliber with a scope on it. That's how you become a pirate.
I've seen Black Betty draw blood.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That guy it wrote up his nose and scratched his nose. Oh,
and
my goodness.
I laughed my
Butt off. Yes.
off.
It was crazy. Yes, but Black Betty, she was a wonderful piece. And yeah, 50 calibers are in. If you never fired one, the concussion from the muzzle brake is just incredible. You feel it. You could be standing 20, 30 yards behind it, and you feel the whole earth shake.
Feel it. Yeah,
it's impressive.
It's very, very impressive. I highly recommend if you've never fired a 50 cal and you don't have access to a 50 cal,
You can rent them.
Yeah, look up a place that allows you to rent them. I know they're all over Vegas.
Yes.
But
And there's places in
there are
Georgia too, I
places in
believe.
Georgia.
Somebody actually sent. They were looking for a
think so,
place,
yeah.
and they asked me. In fact, there's an indoor gun range which allows you to fire one. But I think
Gotta be
it's
a hell of an indoor gun range.
it's reduced load. It's a reduced load
okay,
round.
okay.
And now it's still probably
But
a handful.
still.
I don't know. I've never seen it fired though.
All right.
But you can only use their ammo on their targets and
Okay,
stuff like
okay.
that. So it's probably a very specific
We
round.
need to get outdoor with a 50 cal so you can feel the full.
Yeah, because I imagine a
power
full
of
power
that
load of a 50
compression.
caliber would be busting any fluorescent light bulbs that are nearby.
Without a doubt.
But they're so much fun. Oh my goodness.
They are.
You fire it, and then you just got this. You have to go get plastic surgery because there's no other way that you're going to get that smile off your face.
It's absolutely true. People ask me all the time why I smile so much. Have you fired a 50 cal? I mean, you
Happiness
can't help.
is a 50 caliber weapon.
Oh yes,
or
it
belt
is.
fed.
or a belt fed weapon.
Yes.
One of my motorcycle helmets, I have a sticker on the back that says "Happiness is a belt fed weapon."
Oh yeah, that's
Very
neat.
true.
Magazine. I wonder if magazine bans apply to belt fed weapons. They don't have a magazine.
They don't have a magazine. Technically, this is true.
I could have a
It's a
200
belt.
round. I could have a 200 round linked together thing. It's not a magazine.
I think you just found a loophole.
Yeah.
We better shut up before somebody alerts the Democrats.
Alerts the gun grabbers to come and ban it. Oh my goodness. But okay, so there's this advisor to an anti-gun group, and he's mocking all these first-time gun buyers. And he's a former ATF agent. And he's telling all these first-time gun buyers, only bring out the weapons if zombies appear. Because he thinks that's why these people are doing this.
I'm part of the zombie team, by the way. The zombie
response team?
Zombie response team. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I am.
But this is an ATF veteran special agent who served as a senior policy advisor for an anti-gun group. He mocked people who had bought guns for the first time because of the coronavirus crisis, likening them to Tiger King and saying they should hide the guns and only bring them out if zombies start to appear. And I don't think they are. I mean, it's crazy because, like I said, we had 3.7 million firearm checks done in March, which is probably close to that. Handgun sales jumped by 91%. Firearm sales in general jumped by 85%. Single long guns by 73%. Everything was up so high. It was amazing. I love seeing this too, because first-time gun buyers, if you'll get into it a little bit, take your time, get to know people who are in it, you will have fun, guaranteed. Just make sure you follow the 4 rules of gun safety, which I'm not going to quote here again because I always end up screwing them up. I know them. Trigger discipline, sure of your backstop, treat it as if it's loaded, those. But look them up, get to know them, pay attention to them, and get somebody to help you. But this guy, he's telling people that they're stupid for buying these guns because he was trained to be proficient with the use of a gun. And most buyers who got their gun out there have no training whatsoever. So in their mind, they may be competent because they think they're really die-hard and ready to go, but unfortunately they're more like Tiger King, putting themselves and their families in danger. Now, you know what? I don't care who you are, if you're anti-gun group or not. You shouldn't insult people who buy guns. It's just not polite. Anyone who has, they say an armed society is a polite society, and this guy obviously doesn't remember that. But he seems to think this is ridiculously stupid and these people should not have guns. But it's like he was an ATF agent. And I guess, he thinks because he was an ATF agent, he was a federal agent, he's way more prepared. Now, I'll be honest. I've shot some competitions, not with ATF agents specifically, but with some local law enforcement and some other law enforcement officials. And these guys, some of them are very good. Others of them are very average. Just because you're in law enforcement does not mean you're an expert with a weapon. A lot of them do what they do to help people. They're directing traffic, they're writing tickets. They're not necessarily the guys who have to use their guns every day. While other people who train a lot, every week or every couple of weeks, they're out there shooting, 500 to 1,000 rounds of ammo on a variety of targets, moving still. These guys train hard and they know what they're doing. They may not be law enforcement officials, but they have the training that surpasses a lot of law enforcement officials. Now, there are branches of all law enforcement that have that level of training, but a lot of them do not. So just because someone's in law enforcement does not mean they are inherently better with a weapon than someone who trains.
Oh,
So,
Roger, I have a real life story that I can
goodness.
tell you. So, You're so right there, and I'm not to impugn any law enforcement officer at all. I'm not trying to do that. But when I was recruited, and here's some information that's going to come out that some of you probably didn't know, and I can only give a little bit of information. I can't give a whole lot. But I was once upon a time recruited by the DEA, and when I was recruited, I had no law enforcement background. And I had to go through the very first testing that I had to go through. Well, one of the testing involved gun firing, and it was different exercises: firing with one hand, firing with one eye. I mean, both eyes open, and all these things. And I just happened to have a state patrol. I believe it was a state patrol from Florida guy that was going through the same time. I was.
To join the DEA.
Yeah, he was going through. He was.
So you guys were both testing at the same time.
So we were both testing at the same time, and I beat him. And I had no experience, but he was a law enforcement, active duty law enforcement.
He was on the job.
So it can happen. There are natural abilities.
Oh, right, absolutely. And like I say, law enforcement involves so much more than guns. I mean, probably 90% of them never touch a gun except when they have to qualify.
Yeah.
And that's fine, though. We need all the law enforcement out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, now they are capable. Now, in some of them, they have SWAT units, they have sheriff units, they have special units, which are highly trained and extremely proficient with a huge number of weapons.
They can knock a fly's
wings off
at a distance of, well, you probably don't want to know.
That's right. I mean, I'm not saying they're
I've seen it done.
But not everybody, just because they're a law enforcement officer, does not mean they're extremely proficient or an expert with firearms.
Right.
And a lot of them don't want to be. They have other areas of expertise. The guy you want to get to know is the guy, the computer hacker that the police hires. He may not be able to fire a gun, but he can shut down your life quicker than anybody with a gun could.
There's no doubt about that. I mean, think about it. There's the negotiator. Well, the negotiator, he may carry a gun, but he's probably not as proficient with that weapon as some other people.
No, because that's not his specialty.
That's not his specialty. Exactly.
Because law enforcement is huge. It's varied. It has a wide bunch of applications. I mean, so I'm not knocking any of the police officers. Please don't think
right. We're not
anything
trying,
wrong with you.
Yeah, we're not trying to impugn
I know you guys
anything.
work hard and you have a tough job. I would not want it, not for a million,
Absolutely.
not for in a million years. I wouldn't want to do that job.
The only thing I don't agree with is don't pull me over for speeding. Other than that.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. This is Locked and Loaded. I am Roger B., and you're listening to America's Web Radio.
Get your pen and paper ready. If there's a move in your near future, I'm here to tell you that the folks I used and now recommend is Around Town Movers. Timothy and the guys recently moved me, and I am and was totally satisfied with a sometimes not so fun experience moving. Call Timothy at 770-378-4708 and make it a good move and a good experience. Around Town Movers for that local or cross-country move. Timothy, Around Town Movers, in my opinion, are the best. That's Around Town Movers. Call them.
The disease of addiction is a life-altering challenge, not just for the person suffering its effects, but also for the family and friends who support and love the one caught in its grasp. What should be the course of treatment? Who is the best person to render treatment? And what is the best place to go for the care that is needed? We know that you want answers to these and many more questions. Call 770-696-9862 and speak to a representative of the Atlanta Healing Center. They can tailor a program specifically designed to address the needs of the person suffering with an addiction, or give you guidance as to where that help may be found. Information is the key, and the trained staff at AHC is here to assist. If you wish, you can also get more information on the website located at www.atlantahealingcenter.com.
Want to give your family or loved one the perfect gift? Then go online and check out the TornadoBodyDryer.com. I love mine and the warm heat air massage it gives me after my shower. The Tornado Body Dryer is super. You'll love it, and you'll love having one in your shower.
Okay.
Me too.
And we're back. I'm Roger B. This is Locked and Loaded. You're listening to America's Web Radio. And to my right, it's Victor Armendariz, who's joining us today to talk about all the fun things.
Hey, you know, it's hard to leave when you're talking about guns.
I know.
Every week I try to leave after my show, but then we start talking about guns, and I have to stay.
Let's divert for just a second and talk about motorcycles.
Excellent. The other great passion of ours.
There was a skate park in, I think, California. And the skaters were coming, even though they were supposed to be quarantined, and they were skating. So what the city did is they pushed a bunch of sand from the beach into the skate park to get sand all over the pools and dips and all the
to really
the
show
cutouts and
those
stuff,
kids.
to show those skaters
you,
that,
you will not have a good
sand
time.
will ruin your wheels. So these guys got out there, some rakes and shovels, patted some stuff down, and they take their mini dirt bikes out there and turned it into a dirt bike track.
So they turned it into an X Games track. So I mean that's the ingenuity of Americans, and great, and it starts young, which is great to see.
Awesome, I know.
And,
It was hilarious.
Just today and yesterday, there was data, again, real data, not models, real data coming out saying that this shelter inside is actually doing more harm.
It's extending it out.
Yeah, because you going outside, you're naturally going to be more distant. You're going to have the wind. You're going to have the air.
People are allowed to go outside, walk, and exercise.
Right,
That's been allowed.
But they're trying to keep people in their homes. Because you can go walk, but they don't want you in a dog park. They don't want you in a regular park. They don't want you in a skate park.
Let's compact people closer together and keep them locked in, breathing inside air. No,
I'll tell you what I saw yesterday. So they beautiful dog park we have here, and they closed it down. So everybody gathered outside the dog park, closer together, so their dogs could play.
That's like I was up at. I went up take a drive by the lake over here, and all the parking places were closed. They closed off all the little park places where you can park along the road and take a look. So people just parked along the side of the road outside the parking lots.
You're not going to stop Americans from being free.
And they got out and they walked around and they did what they wanted to do anyway.
So the government can cause you trouble and strife, but we're gonna overcome.
We're not hearing huge numbers of cases of people being arrested or ticketed for violating the shelter.
Not in this state, at least. I don't know. Now Michigan's a different story. Jersey's a different story.
They're fighting it. Yeah, they're
Jersey.
fighting. I heard in Florida they had drones yelling at people if they were too close together.
I think they did. Well, Jersey's using drones right now to actually take information and record people. Mm-hmm. I mean, and guess where that information's going?
Oh, NSA.
Not only that, it's going to China.
Oh, great!
The drones they've got were giving to them by a company from China.
So they had the Chinese software. They're hacking everything.
Everything.
Well, and they had some that had heat sensors in them, so they're taking temperatures of people while they're flying around.
Right. It's ridiculous.
Hey, you have a fever. Get inside. I'm just hot. I've been walking for 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I was in exercising, you fool.
That's right.
Oh, it's crazy what's going on now.
But now, I mean, we didn't. It was the unknown. The fear of the unknown is what caused a lot of this to happen.
Well,
I mean, it could have been horribly worse than it was. We didn't know.
And now, granted, they purposely used models. Now, remember, what is a model? A model is garbage in, garbage out. That's the truth, because whatever you put in is what you're going to get out.
They don't know what China went through. They don't know how many people were killed there.
China lied.
Well, of course they did, but you would have figured they underestimated than overestimated.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Exactly.
I don't know.
But they were also saying that you couldn't contact it human to human. So there's a lot of lies that came out, but yet we still scared people by bloating or putting in a bunch
them with
of
the
junk.
unknown, yes.
Yeah, because we created these models.
Inflating
that showed,
figures.
The models have been nowhere near right.
Oh, yeah, and now they're finding out they're even less right.
Well, they are, but again, if you're a doomsayer, you can't be wrong. Think about
doomsayer.
it.
Oh,
think about
speaking of doomsayers, we're going to talk about doomsdayers.
All right, doomsdayers.
Doomsdayers. These are people who, they think doomsday's coming and they need a gun. Let's go out and get something. So I got this story from Bearing Arms. The guy's actually, I think he's here in Georgia, actually, Tom Knighton. And he got some stories together from people who reported on, he got some anecdotal stories from first-time gun buyers going out trying to buy guns.
Excellent. I know where this is going.
And he said he was chatting with a friend of his on the topic of gun sales, and he goes, my friend's father owns a gun range near me, and he's seen a huge amount of liberals coming in to purchase weapons in recent years. And he's like, how do you know they're liberals? Well, because they're shocked when they discover they can't just walk out with a gun.
Walk out with a gun.
Because some of these states have restrictive laws, 10-day waits. You have education you have to pass before you're allowed to take a gun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've heard all this talk of gun sales just skyrocketing because of the coronavirus. I mean, I still don't understand the connection, unless maybe they feel like if there becomes civil unrest, if the system of law enforcement
Suddenly,
breaks down enough, they have to become their first
So
responder.
suddenly a snowflake is out there thinking that he might have to defend himself.
Right.
And now he
'cause
wants
the
a
police
gun.
aren't available.
And he wants to walk in. So suddenly he's realizing what the conservatives, what we've been saying all along. A, you have the Second Amendment right. B, when you need the police, they're minutes away. When you
Well,
need them
yeah.
in seconds,
I
they're
mean,
minutes away.
And this is interesting because as far as preppers go, preppers know it's better to prep.
Preppers know. That should be a tagline.
Preppers know it's better to prep 10 years too early than 10 minutes too late.
10 minutes too late. That's absolutely.
Because 10 minutes after everything's done, it's
know-
too late to start prepping then.
Think about all the fun that the Democrats, a lot of Democrats and other non-Democrats,
Liberals. Liberals. Let's call them liberals.
And
Because
how
I'm
much-
trying to avoid party names.
Well, think about how much fun liberals made, and independents too, how much fun they made of preppers. Whenever you talked about prepping, they were making fun. Well, you know what? I'm not out of toilet paper, and I haven't bought it for 4 months.
That's right,
And
me
I'm not
neither.
out of water, and I haven't bought water for months. And I'm not out of soap. I'm not out of detergent.
That's right.
I'm not out of food.
I have two half-gallon containers of hand sanitizer
Exactly.
that I keep on hand all the time.
Exactly. And so, yes, you
Now,
can make fun of me.
I did
but,
run out of some frozen vegetables that I normally go to the store and get every couple of weeks.
You
but
know,
you
I
know,
ran out of those years ago.
yeah, I know. Yeah, you and your frozen hot dogs maybe.
When you open my freezer, it will sound an alarm if you try to put vegetables in it.
Yeah. You dislike vegetables so much you don't even put ketchup on anything.
Nope. Nope. I'll eat pizza sauce. That's as far as I'm
That's
going to go.
that's your vegetable. Okay.
I like
but
pizza
anyway,
sauce and marinara.
Well, okay, they're similar.
Yeah.
Spaghetti sauce.
Spaghetti sauce.
But anyway, so he goes. Not only are many liberals suddenly learning that that they love their Second Amendment rights. Oh God, I need a gun.
It's so great that liberals are suddenly finding respect for the 10th Amendment and the Second Amendment.
I really hope this continues, and these people actually, I hope a
me
huge new generation of respectful
Gun-toting
gun
Americans.
owners come out of this. That would be
Yeah,
great.
Would be great.
But they see things on TV, they watch movies, and they think, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go buy a gun on the street from my neighborhood, whatever. or
right.
I'm just gonna go to the gun store, pay him an extra $20. He's gonna.
I'm going to go
me a-
take advantage of the loophole at the gun show.
Yeah, I'm gonna. If you could just apply the gun show loophole to this sale, that would be great.
I'll be on my way. Thanks. No, it doesn't work
Yeah.
that way. What do you mean, no? Yep.
But this was somebody who, they got denied, and she spoke with a friend's father to get the lowdown, and sure enough, a lot of liberals were shocked when they can't just walk out with their new firearm. Now
because they're told.
you should be able to. In some places, if you get the background check done, you clear, or you have a
an
carry
instant,
permit,
an
you're
instant
allowed
check
to.
or
Yeah.
a permit, right?
And most instant checks are done everywhere in the country
But
now.
most liberals don't have a weapons permit
Oh no, of course not.
because they don't believe in them.
Yeah. Oh no. I don't need a gun.
No, but they still think.
But
that
now you do.
They, based on the garbage that they're told in the media, they think they're going to go in and buy a gun and walk out. I mean, it doesn't work that way,
this was
especially in blue states.
This was in California.
Are the liberals ready for me to be hanging a deer and bleeding it out in my front yard?
Are you kidding me?
When we get hungry and there's no feed.
When the grocery store runs out of meat, they'll be right there with you, saying, "What can I do to help?"
Yeah, they may be lining up with
They may
their
be saying,
hand out.
"Should I go light the barbecue now? Can I give you a hand?"
A lot of them are used to having that handout, so they may just line up at your house.
I mean,
That's a great
you
point,
can,
though,
you can
David.
change your mind on things. I fully respect people's, not just women's, prerogative to change your mind. You can do that.
Yeah,
there are plenty of deer. There are plenty of deer in my neighborhood.
right.
I
You
keep
know,
waiting
I had
to-
one set off my my video doorbell
Motion
last
on
night.
that.
Yeah.
And I looked at the video and I see this, and he's walking like right in front of the front door. I was
Yeah.
like, "Come on, dude! It's like 1:30 in the morning."
At least make it hard for me. No, I mean,
I might have hit him with
Yeah,
the
you know,
door when I opened it.
It's a good point, David. I mentioned this right when this crisis started to happen with the virus. I mentioned before, it might have been on your show, Roger, that we won't go hungry because A, we have preparations, and B, we know how to take out a deer if we had to.
Right, but what people don't realize is there's going to be thousands of people with no experience whatsoever shooting at anything that moves
Yeah,
in the
now
woods.
that I don't want to be anywhere near. That's like
And
putting
you
a lot
start
of-
having
yeah.
people just shoot deer all over the place. They're not going to last that long. They will get the population down in a hurry.
In a real big hurry. Of course, I'm not too worried about liberals, new gun owners. They're not going to hit the broadside of a barn, let alone a moving
Well,
deer.
yeah, probably
there's,
not.
There's nothing to shooting a deer. I've done
It's
it all my
cleaning
life.
it,
It's
removing
cleaning
the
it.
glands.
Cleaning.
Yeah.
Well, that's when they're going to
Hard.
come to their neighbor going, are you that Republican voter? Can you clean my deer?
Can you help me with this?
Or
That's
shooting
fine.
that squirrel or shooting that rabbit.
Yeah,
That's right.
Rabbit, man. Rabbit can make a good
rabbit.
Rats taste like chicken.
Like chicken.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry now.
What's that thing about the lesbian frogs? No, never mind.
It had something to do with licking.
It's for chicken, I thought. Anyway,
I used to
eat
I
frogs.
love frog legs.
Frog
oh,
legs?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. they're
Frog legs
fantastic.
and alligator bites.
I've had
frog
alligator
legs
legs. They're
that
good.
you're cooking them in the skillet and they're jumping.
Oh, geez.
Well, they do. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I know.
I mean, that's the legs cut off of the bodies. And
That's
the
right. They're
legs
still
will
the
jump
nerves.
on
Their
you.
nerves are stimulated. But anyway, okay. Let me cover this real quick, and then we can go back to talking about cuisine.
Frogs.
But there's in Florida, an employee of a Florida gun shop had talked to this guy last week and told him that a very liberal customer was quite angry that he could not pick out a gun and pay for it and walk out of the store with it. He said after filling out the 4473, which any of you have bought a gun know, this is the form you have to fill out on every gun you buy from a gun store, showed his driver's
Or
license.
show.
The customer was annoyed that he had to go through a background check. He said, "Don't you know who I am?" He was a city commissioner.
He pulled that card.
Yeah.
Boy, I know what party he belongs to.
And
but go
then,
ahead.
of course, they told him, doesn't matter.
Doesn't
You
matter.
still have to go through. Oh, and then he got really mad.
We live under equal rights.
He said it was a waste of resources to do background checks on law-abiding citizens, and they need exceptions to this. It's like, I agree with them.
Well, I agree with him too.
But I bet he didn't vote
But
that
I
way.
bet he didn't vote that way. Guarantee you he didn't vote. Do you know what city that was?
No, it just said it was in Florida. That's all the guy had
Oh,
here.
I guarantee you he didn't vote for those things that
Yeah.
he's now demanding.
Yeah, background checks on law-abiding. That's a waste of resources. Yes, it is. You are
Really?
absolutely correct. No bones about it.
Yeah, you're not going to
Shall
get an
not be
argument from me.
infringed.
You're not going to get an argument from me because the Second Amendment is very,
But I would
very
love
clear.
to find out who this guy was and get his voting record.
I'd
would
like
be-
to have him on the show.
Yeah, that would be great, but I don't know what name or what city. But then apparently he went completely bonkers when they told him he had to wait 3 days
3
for
days.
Florida law.
Oh, that's great.
He lost his ever-loving
Oh,
mind.
I'm sure he did. You know, I have a funny story about this also.
Oh,
sort of.
all right, go.
Sort of. My sister is a flight attendant, and she had a flight attendant friend that got so annoyed with a typical Hollywoody person. They wouldn't give him special treatment, so the Hollywoodian or elitist looked up and said, do you not know who I am? Do you know who I am? That flight attendant didn't miss a beat. Walked up, grabbed the microphone, and said, "Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, please pardon the disturbance, but the gentleman in seat A5
Seven, apparently.
has apparently forgotten who he is.
He has a case of amnesia.
If you know who he is, please let him know." Beautiful.
Please claim him at the baggage claim. Okay, we're going to be back in a minute. We're going to take a quick break. This is America's Web Radio. I'm Roger B., and you're listening to Locked and Loaded.
Want to give your family or loved one the perfect gift? Then go online and check out the TornadoBodyDryer.com. I love mine and the warm heat air massage it gives me after my shower. The Tornado Body Dryer is super. You'll love it, and you'll love having one in your shower.
If your health insurance premium is more than your mortgage, Ellen Deal with Ideal Solutions is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner, individual, family, or baby boomer, email maga45cag@gmail.com and I'll respond with 3 easy questions to help you determine if you can get away from Obamacare. As a 20-year veteran of the insurance industry, I'm here to help with all your insurance needs. Email Ellen Deal at maga45cag@gmail.com.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And we're back. I am Roger B. This is Locked and Loaded, and you're listening to America's Web Radio. And right before we left for the break, we were hearing some great anecdotes about liberal gun buyers getting shocked when they could not walk out of the store with their guns. He said it was so funny because he was a politician, apparently a city commissioner, and he didn't believe he required a background check. He just thought I'm a city commissioner. I can just get whatever I want. Just throw it in my trunk and I'll go home. Nope, doesn't work that way. Federal law applies to every gun purchase every time. Now, should it? That's a point for debate. I mean, I don't want serial killers and nut jobs out there trying to buy guns and use them. But, according to the Constitution, shall not be infringed means shall not be infringed. Now, maybe we could just take it, even if we just got a little bit more freedom squeezed out of this, we could get it to where they would not, once you pass your background check, there should be no restrictions on what you could own. Short barrel rifles, machine guns, suppressors, it shouldn't matter. You've already had a background check. You've got everything done. Then you should just be able to buy whatever you want instead of this antiquated, ridiculous, draconian stamp system where you have to get a stamp for every single one of these restricted items that you have. It's so out of date. It's so ridiculous, especially for the suppressors. All they are is something to cut down on the noise a gun makes. Once we have laser pistols and phaser guns, it's not going to matter. But it was funny because the commissioner said, we need exceptions to this rule. It's like, yeah, we do. Like anybody who's already done a background check should be on a file, have a record, and there you go. You don't need another one for a while. But of course, not every liberal first-time gun buyer had this experience. But it's just kind of funny when they do, and when they get so upset. A lot of them probably just took the explanation and went, "Oh, okay, I didn't know," because the media tells me I can just walk in and just take a shopping cart, fill it up with guns, and go to my car with it and have the bag boy stick it in. Well, no, these are not groceries. These are not cheeseburgers. These are not even tennis balls. These are guns, and they require a background check right now through federal law, and you can't get around this. So it's funny because these gun control people, the same people who probably vote to put all these restrictions in place, are so angered when they find out that all of a sudden they want a gun and it applies to them too. That, in a nutshell, is what's wrong with politics today, in my humble opinion. That politicians believe they are above the law. This guy thought because he was a city commissioner, laws should not apply to him. He is a servant of the people. All politicians are there to serve the people. They are not there to rule over us. They are not there to tell us what to do. They are there to represent us. They're there to represent the people who voted for them. But I really hope that this guy goes and reflects a little bit and says, maybe we should revise the gun laws to make it easier for law-abiding people to be able to buy a weapon. That would be an interesting conversation to have with someone. He was so angered by the fact he couldn't walk out with it. I'd like to hear, would he change his position? Would he change his mind on doing things differently for law-abiding citizens now with a background check? Or, I don't know if Florida has a pistol permit exemption. I know in Georgia you have a carry permit, you have an exemption for a background check. That counts as your background check because it is much more extensive than a regular background check. So they figure if you got a pistol permit, you've already undergone all the checks you need to. But we'll see. I mean, I'd love to see laws loosened up in these super tight states after this happens by liberals trying to buy guns and being shocked that they can't. And they may go, you know what? That seemed unreasonable to have to wait 10 days to pick up a handgun after I purchased it. Why would I have to do that? Why do I have to take a safety class? Now, I think if you don't know anything, you should take a safety class anyway. Personally, that's not the worst idea in the world for a first-time buyer. But if you come in and you show proficiency with the weapon, you can handle it, you can lock the slide back, you check, you clear it, your fingers off the trigger, and you obviously know how to handle a firearm, then that might be a way to get an exception. But then you probably have a carry permit and you probably waive these exceptions anyway. But then again, there's states like California, New York, and New Jersey where they do not issue pistol permits, only unless you know somebody. That was not corona, by the way. There's pollen in the air here. But anyway, it's like maybe these politicians will change their mind. Maybe these liberals will wake up a little bit and go, maybe we don't need to be so strict. Maybe we need to roll back a few things. Like I started talking about this earlier, and I totally lost my train of thought, so we can get back to it real quick. Connecticut. They've had so many new laws come in after Sandy Hook. They passed a 10-round magazine ban limit. Now, the Second Amendment Foundation has started a lawsuit. They're going to try and sue Connecticut over their common magazine ban. The original capacity magazines on these weapons, they're not dangerous or unusual. They're common. Everybody else in the country can have them. But Connecticut law makes it illegal to use such magazines, which essentially they're claiming is a deprivation of rights under the federal law. And if that's the case, shall not be infringed should fit in there. What is the difference between a 10-round and a 12-round magazine? In reality, almost nothing. Adds a little more weight to the gun. Even a 50-round magazine adds a little more weight to the gun. It still has to have an evil person behind it with intent on doing evil. It cannot do anything by itself. And in a law-abiding citizen's hands, it will do nothing evil. It will do nothing bad. And having extra capacity will not make any difference unless it's necessary and needed, and there's something there that they can do. And it would assist them in defending themselves. So, but we'll see. I mean, this is interesting that they're actually, and if this goes through, and if they can sue Connecticut and they win, which I don't know, it's going to be a difficult case to prove because the idea of states restricting magazines has become so commonplace, I doubt we're going to get past that. It's probably something that's just going to exist for now. I mean, unless things swing hard enough the other way with gun rights, and I'm hoping this coronavirus scare and all these citizens who are being denied their rights immediately are going to look at this and maybe vote a little different next time. I'm not saying you have to change your mind about every single issue, but maybe you realize the absurdity of these gun laws that tell you can't have 11 rounds is illegal and 10 rounds is okay. It's completely ridiculous. And then they have to make special magazines for all these guns because the standard capacity magazines are just, they're more readily available. They're easier to get. And they can't change them that easily. They have to make special exceptions to be able to provide them. So there you go. I mean, we'll see what happens with that, though. It's going to be interesting to see. But then on the other side of the coin, in Missouri, hold on one second here. Let's get this. Missouri House Committee passes Second Amendment Preservation Act. So instead of restricting freedom, they're coming out saying, you know what? We're going to defend the Second Amendment. We're going to say there can be no laws to impede or to stop you from exercising your Second Amendment rights. And it got a full vote, so it had enough that's passing through. If it becomes law, it says it passes the Second Amendment. The House Committee. Okay, so it's not the law yet. But if it becomes law, which it looks like it will or may have already, because this was from a couple of weeks ago, it will prohibit any person, including any public official or employee of the state, from enforcing any past, present, or future federal acts, laws, executive orders, administrative orders, court orders, rules, or regulations that infringe on the Second Amendment, the guarantee of the right to keep and bear arms. And the bill defines infringement as taxes and fees, accessories or ammunition, registration, or other schemes devised to track the ownership of guns. We all know registration is the first step to removal. Once they register it, they know where it is, and if they decide, we're going to take those away, nobody should have those, they know where to come find it. And that's what you're not supposed to do that. That's not legal. The Constitution clearly states shall not be infringed. I can't say that enough. Shall not be infringed is so clear. The language the Founding Fathers put into this was so eloquent and so simple, and yet gives such a strong meaning. There's no way you can misinterpret this or change it in any way. It was so clearly written. The guys who did our Constitution were just brilliant. And they're looking back now after a couple hundred years going, what did you idiots do to our country? We gave you this perfect country, this great document to rule by, and now you're screwing it all up. So let's hope things back up a little bit. But Missouri is trying to hold on to this. Now, This has been tried once before, I think. In Kansas, they passed a law allowing people to have ownership of short-barrel rifles or suppressors without federal approval, as long as it did not leave the state. And the feds ended up coming in, arresting a couple of people, taking them to court, and it went up, and they got squashed. They didn't have enough legal precedent to stand on, I suppose, so the BATF ended up winning, although the fines were extremely small, a couple $100, and they weren't restricted in any way from that point on from owning stuff, because Missouri law stated you can own a suppressor if it's manufactured here, sold here, and does not leave the state. Then it's not violating interstate commerce rules, which is how a lot of the Class 3 laws are designed. That's what they were originally designed for. A lot of them was they use them as interstate commerce rules. That's how they got a lot of these to go through. But we'll see. Missouri is coming in really strong with freedom this year. Coming up with something like that, where it's going to be good to see how they do on stuff like this. And if they get this law passed, it's going to be a good place to live. And all you people from New York or California or New Jersey or Connecticut, don't move there, because they don't want you to bring your locust effect there and turn them into a gun-hating state. But look at what they're doing. Look at the document we're trying to preserve. Read it over. I mean, it's not that long. You can get a pocket version if you want to. The Constitution clearly states everything and clearly restricts the government from infringing on many things. So keep that in mind. If you get a chance, read the first 10 amendments. Read the Bill of Rights. If you look at it, it just says the government shall not pass any law, shall not do this, shall not. It's not what we can do, it's what they cannot do.
I'm always amazed and will read and reread the Constitution. I've got one right in front of me, as a matter of fact.
A pocket version. Look at that. Yeah. Yep. I knew they existed.
I marvel at our founding fathers. They talking about a crystal ball.
I know.
Just, the fact that they address issues that they had no idea.
Completely thorough document.
Yeah.
Very thorough in everything it addresses. It is outstanding, and we need to honor it more than we do now.
Well, if you're sitting at home, locked in your house,
quarantined,
go quarantined or whatever. Go to your computer. If you haven't got a copy of the Constitution, go to your computer and look it up. Anyway.
Okay, it's time to call it. This is America's Web Radio. I'm Roger B., and you have been listening to Locked and Loaded. Next time.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Whether cruising the Strip in a 57 Chevy or taking the family on a vacation in a 71 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser, you need to tune in to Classic Cars with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. on AmericasWebRadio.com.
Hi, this is Steve Ronaldo, host of the Classic Car Show on America's Web Radio. Just talking to you about antique car insurance. I think that if you're looking for the best coverage for your classic car, consider J.C. Taylor Insurance. They've been my insurer for years in this hobby and have the top rating of all of the insurance companies in the hobby. When you get ready for insurance, call J.C. Taylor or visit jctaylor.com on the internet.
But this is really a chance for you to really, get this out to our many listeners who may be experiencing, treatments right now, undergoing that, or maybe have family members that have gone through it as well. So I feel like a lot of people can really relate to this. So I just want to give you the floor and just...
I'm Dr. Susan Blank, and you're listening to America's Web Radio. Today in studio, I have with me David Donaldson from the Atlanta Healing Center. Hey, David.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
I am doing very well.